Hello, this is the Thursday Weekly Show, helping you to find your clients online and showing you how you can use live streaming, LinkedIn, video, and much more. Giving you breakdowns, teardowns, and step by steps, as well as making it a little bit more fun and interesting with guests and surprises. And today we do have two guests coming on, but before they do, I am going to kick us off with some great tips and strategies. And today I'm answering your questions about live streaming. Let's get going. Hello, I am Charlene Tessier, founder of Strength in Numbers, and I help you use strategic live streaming to find your fans online and your ideal clients online and fill your courses, programs, workshops, and events. I have an amazing event coming up with 8 experts, including myself, and we are going to help you get more people to your master classes, trainings, virtual events. And it is a free event happening next Wednesday. And 2 of those experts will be on the show a little bit later, sharing a bit more about themselves and how they help people get ideal clients to their events. And I'm going to move. I always got to figure this out a little bit with the thinking here. So I will put the comments in the comments a little bit later below the link to the event. It is free. If you can't come live, just make sure on the thank you page you ask your question there. We do have a box, and I will ask it to the expert panel, and you will have the replay after, free replay after. So make sure you check that out. And today 2 are coming, Rob and Barbara, and we will be meeting them in just a little bit. But to start us off, we are going to do your questions answered around live streaming. So I asked, what is your biggest challenge with live streaming? And I got a ton of responses, and many were very, very similar. The first one was actually around, which a lot of people have, is the fear of video, right? And I'm going to give a little story about about how I kind of started with live streaming and video. And to be honest, 2 years ago when I started out, if you told me that I would be doing live streaming and video, I would not have believed you at all. I did 0 videos. I was not confident at all. And I hated the way I look on video and camera. I actually still have a hard time watching myself on playbacks. It's just, I don't know. I think we are our worst critic, right? To be honest. But 2 years ago, I was doing long form blogging, written posts, tweets. And so I did everything kind of written text, and I didn't like doing that. I really, really hated it. And I came across a 30-day challenge where I could get confident on video. And I thought this would be really great because weirdly, I had no fears of being on stage in person and doing presentations on stage, workshops live, and events live, which I did a ton of when my business was offline. I had a meetup group, and it didn't bother me at all. But I don't know, being on video just brought out this horrible perfectionist side. Also, just on YouTube, people have amazing videos, and I felt mine just look like crap. I just felt so terrible about putting out these videos and content. And after I did the 30-day challenge, I did start to have a bit of confidence, and I did create 20 videos for YouTube. I rehearsed them, I recorded them over and over again. I uploaded them to YouTube, and to this very day, I have never published them. They are still sitting in unlisted. I don't know if I'll ever publish them. I had tons of confidence issues as well, because if I had really achieved what I had wanted to achieve in that 30-day challenge, hitting publish wouldn't have been a problem. Well, live was actually a little bit of a workaround for me. It helped me to kind of get over that perfectionism, as well as just people knew that this was live. They're going to get what they're going to get. And the expectation I felt was just a little bit lower and a little bit easier for me. So that's why I ended up in live streaming. And I'll also give you a tip, is that if live streaming is super scary and you don't have a lot of confidence doing solo live streams like this, which do require a bit more kind of nerve to get going, is do interview style. Find some really amazing people to interview that you can talk to and just have a coffee chat together. And it just is so much easier with a partner. Or you can even find a co host, and when you don't have a guest, you two can kind of play off of each other, and that does bring it down a bit, because it's just like having a chat with your friend, and that's one of the ways you can be a bit more confident and get started with a video. The next thing people ask me, and this is a little tip, I already gave you one tip, this is tip number 2, is being confident on video also means you want to look good and feel good about yourself, to be honest. And to be honest, I am still very awkward about how I look on video. I'm not going to lie about that. But I did do 2 things to actually make myself feel better about how I feel that I look, on video. And being live, it's just like going out of the house. You want to look good when you go out of the house. You're not going to be in your PJs and just look, your hair's a mess and everything. But for us ladies, who want to look good on video, taking time to look good does take time. And if you're only going to stream, 5-10 minutes, you almost feel like, gee, it takes me 15 minutes to get, prepped to go out. And yet I'm only going to stream for a few minutes. So what I did is on YouTube, there are amazing videos for what's called the 5-minute face, and you don't need tons of makeup. It's very natural look, which is what I have. And it literally takes me 5 minutes, sometimes even less. So you do very little product and you just look really good and at least a little bit more polished. The other thing I do so that I don't have to stress about what am I going to wear and look good on video is I put together what's called a capsule wardrobe, and it's just 8 pieces. Again, you can search that on YouTube. It's really easy. And you don't even actually need the bottoms because no one can see you. But if you have 3 or 4 tops that looks really good on you and has a bright pop of color, and you think you feel very confident in, you're going to be more confident on video. And so having those at the ready, which I have in my closet, those are only for my live stream. I don't use them ever for anything. Also, that means they're pressed, they're clean, they're ready to go. And to be honest, I'm only wearing this for 15-20 minutes, so I don't wash it right away, just put it back on until I feel that it needs to be clean. So that ensures that you're confident and you look good, and honestly takes me probably max 10 minutes to get ready for a stream because I kind of have everything set up in place. It's just like having your recording studio set up so that you can come, go, and press the button. It's the same thing about the prep and getting ready. Let's see. I'm going to do a common mistake that everybody makes when they live stream. And most common mistake I see is using live stream and video to always sell. They don't give any value. They are always doing the ask rather than the give. And people tune that out pretty quickly. Nobody really likes that, to be honest. You wouldn't like that. And so giving actual value without always the ask of a sale is a really crucial. In fact, you should do 80% give and only 20% ask. Not saying you can't give a free lead magnet or a free gift, or like I'm giving to my free event, but I almost never, as you will notice here, I have never asked for you to buy anything on my live streams because I don't do it that way. I want to build a relationship with you, and I don't know if you're the first time watching this. Maybe it is. So we don't have a relationship. That's really kind of icky to just come up to somebody and just start asking them to buy your things. Deliver value and give it, and give good stuff. That is the most common mistake most people make with video. And the best thing that happened to me this week is not everybody knows this, but I have a distributed fully remote team, and my team actually, there's myself plus 4 others, and we cross 4 different time zones. So we never ever meet in a meeting in person because our time zones don't match to do that. So I do have some one-on-ones, but we are very Loom heavy, and it's taken a little while for the team to kind of form together, but this last few weeks, it's just been amazing. It's like we're working like a machine together, and things are going along pretty well, honestly. And there are quite a few challenges with having a distributed team that never ever meets in the same time zone. And so it's been an interesting journey, but I really love it, and I really especially love my team. They just do such an amazing job. And let's see, I'm going to just double check what time it is. We're running a little bit ahead of schedule. And that's okay because Rob is actually already here in backstage. So why not bring him to the stage and we can talk with him for a little bit first. And then we might do a little overlap with Barb and then Rob can leave. He doesn't have to stay the whole time. It's as unscripted, so even Rob doesn't really know what's going to be happening here because I don't do it scripted, as many of you know. Hi, Rob. How's it going?
Hi there. Great to see you.
Yes, I'm going to move. There we go. That's better. I had
Much
to
better.
change the layout, and I'll put up just a little bit from your bio, which Rob helps you harness the power of your email list. I don't like to do the whole bio read. It's kind of dry and boring. I'd rather just let you tell us who you serve and how do you serve them. And I gave them a little hint there in that. I would love to know how you harness the power of email.
Sure. Well, email is one of those things that gets thrown by the wayside. People discard it very easily. So, I like to work with coaches, consultants, solopreneurs, people who want to build a business, but they've tried all kinds of things. Like there's so much you can do in marketing. And I always tell people the best marketing plan is the one that you're actually going to execute. But I think email is important because we can get caught up very quickly in the hubbub and the rush of social media. And that can be an important tool to use. I mean, you know that because you use LinkedIn and you use it very effectively. But for a lot of folks, they want to make viral videos and they want to try stuff. And I'm going to do TikTok and fun dances. And really, they're sort of missing the mark about putting themselves out there in a way that's accessible and a way that makes sense to attract the right kind of clients. So what I say about email is if you can build an email list that is of people that want to hear your message, they're interested in what you teach, you have direct access to those folks. No matter what, I mean, when Facebook and Instagram went out a couple weeks ago, like you would have thought the whole world had fallen apart because people didn't know what to do because they couldn't talk to their audience. But all those folks who had email lists, they could still talk to them. So email is not the flashiest thing in the world. It's not necessarily the most exciting, but done well, it's a great way to communicate with your audience. And it still has a very high return on your investment for the amount of hours or the dollars you might spend in putting into the technology of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, there was a post I saw on LinkedIn from like a marketing strategist about, the day after the Facebook was down, the line in his hook in his post was, I wouldn't trade my list of 2,000 email list for 2,000 for 200,000 followers, something insane like that. Like I would never trade that ever. I would go for the list of 2,000 and dump the 200K followers.
Yeah.
He is massive, right? On LinkedIn, has tons of followers. And he even said that, like, that's, in the wake of the Facebook crash, what are you really focusing on that's important in your business that you actually have some control over?
Yeah.
You don't.
Because with building, and with all communities, whether they're online or it's your email list, you're building a tribe. I know Barbara, we'll talk about this when she comes on about her tribe. You're building a community of followers that want to hear from you. And you made a really good point before I came on about not using video to just sell to people. And that's a thing that people make that mistake with the email list. They think, I've got subscribers, I can just make all kinds of offers. Well, you need to give them value because nobody wants this continuous flow of just like, buy this, buy this, buy that. You need to give them resources. You need to entertain them. You can offer them free things, like you said, like lead magnets and other valuable resources. I offer resources of other people that are free masterclasses and whatnot. Go take this class, you can learn a lot from it. But you have to think of it as building. If you sat down with a friend, you wouldn't just be like, hey friend, here's what happened to me this week. Okay, I gotta go, see ya. It's you want communication, you want to hear from them, you want to ask them to respond, you want to get them involved. And again, you want to keep, as you said so well, give them value. 80% of that should be value, and then the selling should come in. But you got to build that trust and build those relationships first with the email.
Yeah. And I actually am very curious about this because I've been reading a lot about it, about like how many touch points people need, nowadays for sales. And it used to be 6, then 8, then 10. And I'm hearing now even like 15, 20 touch points. That's not selling. That's just you building the relationship, and a touch point can be through a direct message or an email or, well, social posts. You don't know if they really watch read that touch point,
Yeah.
but if you can track it, right? And so I was wondering how many touch points you think it is nowadays, because it's getting longer and longer, it seems.
It is, but it's so I'm kind of with you. That's what I've been reading too. Is it's gone way. It used to be like the 5 or 6, and now we're up to like 15, 20, and upwards. So the great thing is that if you are one of those people that keeps showing up consistently and makes those touch points, you are going to have so much of a higher percentage of success, because so many people give up after the first few touch points. I used to work in the greeting card and gift industry and do trade shows, and I coached a lot of people who had like small companies and small businesses, and they would say, well, I sent her an email and she didn't respond. It's like, well, maybe you should send another one, or try calling her, or send a postcard, or, it's like, we think that our business is the most important thing to everybody else, when really it's the most important thing to us. We're not top of mind for everybody else all the time. It's the delusional world we live in, but
Yes, yeah, we have a very skewed kind of view of our own world as owners, and I forgot to put my branding on there. I'll just put that on right now. So thanks, that's really wonderful. I don't know if you know, but I have a question, random question, a wheel question,
okay.
And I would love to spin the wheel. No need to panic. You will have a few minutes. We'll even let you know what are the categories.
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
That well, because it's a little bit far away, but. Yellow is let me get it in the video. Story. Blue is tip, and I'll shout it out. You don't need to worry. Green is the most common mistake people make, and the best thing that happened to you this week. And that can be personal, that can be business. It's whatever you want. Same with story. It can be whatever you understand that to be. Okay. So I go on the wheel, and we're gonna see. I did start off the show actually with kind of that story. Oh, I love that, and that was a good one for you too.
So, following on our theme of, following up on touch points, I'll tell a story about when I used to work in trade shows with people. And, when I did trade shows, you keep business cards, you make a list, you follow up, you say, what did this person like? What did they not like? So when you reach out to them, you can add personal touches to it and say, hey, I really enjoyed our conversation. We talked about, this part of my product, or we talked about New York City or Seattle or poodles or whatever we talked about, right? It makes it more personal. You were paying attention. And I observed this one woman who was across the aisle from me who would talk to people. They wouldn't buy anything, but they'd browse. They'd give her a business card, and then she'd throw them in the trash. And so I was like, I went over, I'm like, I'm sorry, I saw you throw that business card in the trash. Did you mean to do that? She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I don't ever follow up with anybody because they don't ever buy anything later. From the same trade show, a friend of mine there who did the same thing I did, collected business cards, followed up with people. She made 80% of her sales in the weeks following this 4-day trade show. So 80% more sales came in after the show was over rather than at the show, because people needed time to go home and think about stuff. So if you think about giving up, send one more. Like, that should be your thing. Like, just try one more time, and also, if people say no, I like to say, is this no for like right now, or is this the no like forever? Do you want me to just go away? Because sometimes it's just not the right time. People need to follow you for sometimes 2 or 3 years. I've had clients do that where they're like, okay, I've been on your email list. I love your emails. I'm finally ready to work with you. So that's my story about don't follow up on those leads, and do not give up on them.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent story. And I'm shocked about why even go to a trade show if you're just gonna throw away all the company.
I guess she thought she'd make all her sales there, but that's just, those trade shows are, especially if you're a small business or a solopreneur, trade shows are not cheap to do. It's an expensive enterprise. So I was shocked, but
let's do one more. Let's do another one.
All right.
Why not? Let's see. Oh yeah, common mistake. I love that one.
Common mistake
people make.
So,
email, I guess, for this.
Well, yes, a lot of people with email, a common mistake they make is they get really excited about building an email list. They get it all set up, and then they send out an email, and then they don't touch it for like weeks or months on end. And so what happens is all those people who maybe signed up for your Great Lead Magnet or like took a masterclass from you, they forget who you are. a lot of entrepreneurs think that, oh, I don't want to show up too often because I don't want to be bothering people, but really they signed up for a reason. So if you show up like once every 6 months, you're going to be the first thing they do is just like unsubscribe because they don't remember, even even if they really enjoyed the thing they got. People, like, I don't know about you, Charlene, but I'm subscribed to dozens of email lists because I like to see what's going on in the world. But you can't always remember where you came into someone's world. So you need to show up consistently. And whatever that means to you, I mean, that could be, for some people, that's every day. Some people, that's once a week. Some people, it's multiple times a week. Even twice a month, if that's all you can handle right now, is way better than just showing up when you feel like it. So it's about being consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my big goal this year because I was the same. I do these panel events and summits, which Rob is part of. He's coming up this Wednesday. And because they take a lot of effort to put on, take about 3 months to put together this event. People don't realize it takes a lot of runway to get this off the ground. So I would, a lot of people would sign up. And then last year, especially, I was really poor at doing I was lucky if I sent one email between the next one, which was 4 months away, and then I was wondering, how come my list is so, such a high unsubscribe? And why is it so, cold in a way? And it's because, well, I kind of let it get cold. And now I actually send out 2 times a week, which is not very aggressive. Some people do daily. I don't feel comfortable with that, but two times a week, and my unsubscribe just tanked right away. Like, I just haven't. There is always some people who are going to unsubscribe, and that's okay. But I didn't have like the 10% or 5%, which is really huge unsubscribes, and that's because when I did finally send that email, like Rob said, people didn't remember who it was, and they had forgotten about that event that I did, even though I put in all that effort.
Yeah.
And so yes, the keeping in touch and being consistent is really, really important. And do you have a tip about a lightweight way to kind of keep that going for people who maybe feel like, it's daunting to create, new email every single week? Even they feel like, that's, what am I going to write about and how am I going to get it going and keep that pace?
I mean, I would say for the easiest thing to do is to create some type of schedule, like decide, okay, let's just say like this is new for you showing up regularly. So decide like maybe twice a month on Thursdays or every Thursday, you're going to send something out. It doesn't have to be the same kind of thing. A lot of folks get caught up in the, oh my gosh, this has to be like this is the most amazing, earth-shattering piece of something I've ever created. It could be something that you learned in your own business. It could be tips. It could be something you teach, maybe in like 5 steps that each point has a couple of sentences, right? You're showing somebody to do something. It could be resources. So, what are some great business books you read? What are some new podcasts you discovered? What are things that your audience would find valuable? What are some great videos you learned on how to do a task? You can put all the links in like in from YouTube. Also something inspirational. Like it could be like you put together a small quote and write a few words about it and, get people involved in a dialogue. Say, does this resonate with you, or what's going on with your life? I'd love to hear from you. So it doesn't have to be long. I suggest to people 300 to 500 words is a great email. If you want to go longer than that, that's really great for blog posts. Like 1,500 words is a great blog post. But for email, if I'm looking at it on my phone, if I see really long emails, I start scrolling through them. So keep them short. So don't torture yourself with having to write this really huge, long thing, and mix it up. But always be thinking about your audience. What would this be valuable for them? Would they enjoy this? And sometimes if you're new, you don't know, so you might have to experiment a little bit and see how they respond to it. But you can definitely find ways to keep them short and to mix them up. The point is just to keep showing up and showing your personality, reminding them who you are, because there are millions of people that do what I do. Well, maybe not millions, but probably hundreds. So people want to work with me because they're like, oh, Rob's interesting or funny, or he has weird hair, or, anything else. So you need to keep showing them up, and they want to see not just like the tips you give and with the business person, but they want to get to know you as the business person as well. So keep that in mind. Think about them when you're writing, and just find different ways to always be adding value to them.
Oh, right. That's a wonderful tip. Thanks, Rob. Thanks so much. I will actually let you go because I promised you 15 minutes and you guys are all very, very busy. but it was so nice to meet you and to have you here, and so that we could kind of get to know you a little bit more. Because in
Yeah.
the panel, we don't have very much time. It's kind of on the clock and crunch. And if you have questions for Rob and you come next week, we do open the floor. You can actually ask your question directly about your business to Rob or to any of the panel experts. So if you want to get, some expert advice about your email or even any kind of copywriting strategies, Rob is going to be there, and you want to be there with your questions. So I hope that you're able to come. I will let Rob go off backstage, and then I'll put
Okay.
up the banner again so that it's not blocking, because it's going to go right on your face.
Okay. Charlene, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the panel next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
All right. Take care.
And so, like I said, I'll just throw up that banner so that you guys can see. And that's why I forgot. See, I even actually have a different banner. I kind of messed that up today, but that's okay. I will put it down at the end of the live stream for the link for this free event. It's next week. And if you can't come live, it's okay. On the thank you page, just ask your question there. I will ask it for the panel. I'll ask it on your behalf, and you will get the free replay recordings. So there is no reason why you can't show up. You can just sign up, and we will send you everything that you need. Very soon, I will be having Barbara, who is also one of the panel experts, come on the show in a few minutes. But before that, let's go back to, let me see here. There we go. Oh my. I said I would do some of your questions answered about live streaming and how to get started on a live stream. And I talked a lot about at the beginning about being confident on video. That was, a lot of people have a fear about that, and it's difficult. One of the things you can do to actually get more confident on video and to kind of put yourself out there is prepare, right? So have notes, have them ready so you know what you're going to say, so you don't freak out if you blank out. You can just look at your notes. It's okay. People are not going to freak out because you forgot what to say. You don't need to script it, but at least have an idea about what you want to say so that it's very concise, to the point, and you deliver the value that you want to deliver and the message that you want to deliver. But the main thing that really helped me to build my confidence on video was actually going live consistently, not only weekly. I started out mostly with interviews, but a few months ago, I actually went live for 6 weeks straight, 5 days a week. It was intense. It was a lot, but doing it that much kind of made me just eventually get more comfortable, relax, get in the groove. If someone was there, someone was there. If no one was there, that's fine too. And so it was the repetition. And you can get that, of course, by doing it once a week. But if you really want to just get comfortable, commit to just say 5 days. I did 6 weeks, which was quite excessive, I thought. But you could do 4 weeks, 5 days, and you will feel a lot more confident at the end of that time. And so if you are thinking about doing that, you can also join my free community, and we will support you there for those who are interested in just kind of giving it their all. And I'm actually kind of thinking about doing that within my community for anybody who's interested in doing it. I am planning to do that again in January, actually, so that I can build my confidence a bit more. It's just like rehearsal. I mean, you can rehearse as much as you want, but unless you do the performance, you don't really get better. You kind of have to make yourself go live, do that performance. And so that is one of the ways you can do it for helping yourself become more confident on video. Another question that I often get, let me just take a quick look here, is the one where this is also very interesting one, is you're afraid that nobody's going to show up for your live. And in the beginning, probably not very many people will show up, but there are ways to increase those show up rates. One of the ways is, and this is also kind of one of the most common mistakes that people make, is especially if they're using Facebook, that they just decide at any random time of the day today to hit I'm going live. So you have not given anybody any notice. And if they happen to be there, they can watch it, but they didn't know because you just decided it on a whim. So if you want more people to show up, then announce it at least 7 days before. And actually on Facebook, I think you can only do it 7 days anyways. I mean, they don't need tons of notice. Just announce it 7 days before. You can actually pre-schedule it. And a little announcement's going to pop up on your page, and it's going to show up to everybody as well that you are going to be going live in about 7 days. I also let my email list know, like Rob was saying, so that people can come to my live. But even if nobody comes, the really great thing about live streaming is that the video lives on. And so I get actually the majority of my views in a long tail that happens after the live. So it's not so critical that there is a huge crowd that comes live, but it is important that this video lives on for anywhere from 7 to 10 days and the views keep climbing. So that means people are interested and watching it. So being afraid that no one's going to show up isn't really a worry for live stream. And it's not like, to be honest, nobody really knows except for you. If you did a Zoom meeting and then nobody shows up, or there's only one guy in the room, you feel really awkward. But with live streaming, it doesn't really work that way. Only you know, and really you're just talking to your one audience, which I've spoken about before. So it's a really personalized individual conversation you're having. So have it with that friend. Don't worry about how many people are there, and you will see really amazing results. Barb has popped into the backstage. Rob has just left. I will get her front and center here. Just a second. Hello.
Hey, Charlene.
How's it going today?
I'm great. How are you, dear?
Good. I'm doing good. And I spelled your name wrong. I'm very sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
There's an E. I don't know why I always have a typo there. I just think that I don't know why. I don't know. That's just my thing. I'm gonna just there. It's corrected. And I'm not gonna do the big bio read that everybody does. It's really boring. Everybody tunes that out. So I actually just pick out one line that I like, and I picked out this one, which is the online client attraction alchemist. And I'm going to let you tell us what is that, because I'm very curious. What kind of alchemist are you?
Well, an online client attraction alchemist. Yeah. It really is attracting clients online is part art, part science, and part understanding human nature. And when you bring those elements together, magic happens. And if you look at people around you, that you've been following, some people are just magnets for ideal clients, and then some of us aren't at first. So I help people bring those three things and other things together so that they can attract those clients online.
Oh, that's lovely. And that's such a lovely title. I really do like that, actually.
Thank
So this is unscripted, and I don't use any questions that you give me. I have a wheel of questions behind me, which you might have saw when I had to turn up the sound. So it's going to be random, truly random. And I will let you know, you don't have to know the colors. I will just tell you what it's going to be on here, and you can share something that comes to mind for these cues. The yellow is story. It could be personal story or client story. Blue is tip. Green is the most common mistake you see people make. And red is, the best thing that's happened to you this week. And that can be business or personal or whatever you feel it to be. I'm going to roll the wheel.
How fun.
Yes, it is truly random. I know you can't really see, but it's on green. Most common mistake. Actually, that is one of my most favorite ones that you see people make.
Oh, gosh, let's see. There's quite a few. I think the most common mistake I see people make is relying too heavily on a strategy. And what I mean, and it doesn't matter what the strategy, but relying too heavy on the superficial aspects of a strategy. So I write one email, I send it here, I do this, I do that, right? I teach strategies, you teach strategies, there's strategies all over the place. And so, and they're all great. They're all wonderful. they all work when you work them. So I think the most common mistake is people relying too heavy on the what do you call it? The superficial part of the strategy, and not going deep enough to understand who they're speaking to, what that person wants to hear and needs to hear, and connecting with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I speak about that quite a bit here, for those who want to do video and live streaming. Is they think because I do video, I'm talking to a one-to-many, and just because it's delivered in a one-to-many format, I actually teach you to speak to a one-to-one. Who is that person, that ideal person, and you speak to them. And it also makes it a lot easier to come up with content and ideas, because if you're just having a chat with your friend, you know what to say. You're not freaking out.
Exactly. Exactly. And that, that reminds me of, it's almost, I was going to say it's another mistake, but it's along the same lines. And, we're all told, and as we rightly should, to create an avatar so that we can speak to that one person. So here's, this one maybe falls under a little tip. It's kind of a crossover between a tip and a biggest mistake. So what most people do, myself included initially, is we try to come up with this avatar out of our imagination. We try to create this, and I have this saying, it sounds something like, if you want an imaginary client, then start with an imaginary avatar. So really the tip in here is, if you are looking what that person, that avatar, for who that is to speak with, just zero in on one real person, a real person. It could be a current client, a past client. If you are pre-clients yet, then it could be somebody, a friend, or somebody that has come to you for help or advice. Focusing on that person, because you need to be able to answer questions about that person. And if you're starting with an imaginary avatar, like you're just inventing the answers to those questions. But when you actually think about a real person, it's very easy to come up with those answers.
Yeah, that was one of the things I struggled with early on, because everybody talks about you always have to come up with this client avatar. And when you're pre-client as well, when you don't have a client, it's so hard, and you're just really kind of grinding away at it. And yes, when I figured out and learned that the best way was to actually base it off a real person or persons, I based it off 3 or 4 people. It just became like no brainer. It was so easy to actually create stuff that people were very interested in hearing, rather than me just making up whatever I thought people wanted to hear.
Yeah, I think that is such a valuable tip, Charlene.
Yes.
And you're so right, that I hope people listening, if they pick up on nothing else, please hear that. It makes it so easy, so much less frustrating and confusing and overwhelming. Just base it on a real person.
Yeah. Shall we do another one? Another spin? And see what
Okay. All right.
Yeah, one more. Let's do one more. Why not? We have the time. And it's actually tip again. So if you want to give another tip, or we can do the one next to it, which is story.
Well, let's see if I can come up with one that's a combination of the both.
That's challenging.
Yeah. So, okay. Here it is. The tip, I would say, is when I discovered that what I call old school marketing is dead. And that we are actually in a new age. Now, here's the thing. So old school marketing is based on when we were in the era of information. Right? Remember that? We were in the age of information. And this was back when the internet was fresh and new, and everybody was pounding out content. And the prevailing advice was produce content. And initially, it was so new and fresh that the people who were on the cutting edge of that did get attention. They did get followers. Well, when I came into the scene, it was probably right when we were transitioning between the age of information and what we're in now, which is the age of connection. And like a dutiful little client, I followed all my coach's advice and did that, pounded out all the, info. And it just seemed like I was posting, doing videos, you name it, writing blogs, just out, out, out. And and I was kind of scratching my head thinking like, when are people gonna like discover me? When is this gonna happen? Well, what I didn't realize is that, the age of information was waning at that point. Right. And now it's completely over because we are so inundated with information. I mean, really, is there any information that you can't get with just a quick Google search for free? You don't have to sit there and wait for this wonderful thing to come your way in your, social media or your inbox. So when things really shifted for me was when I stopped pounding out information and started embracing connection, which means connecting with people. So other experts in my industry, that was a big shock to me, right? That there are other people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing or similar, and they're not competitors. They're actually potential partners. And when I started working with them, with these wonderful people around me in my industry, by connecting with them, and then really, again, going back to my first tip, understanding my audience and connecting with them where they're at, things started really blowing up for me. That's when I started getting people's attention, started getting followers, started building my email list and getting clients, of course.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's your combination, tip and story. How's that?
That was good. That was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And that is, I think there's still a lot of that old advice about having to do so much, especially in social, to get a result. And, people are quite surprised that I am the antisocial person, even though I'm, very heavy on LinkedIn. I only go on LinkedIn 30 minutes to an hour a day. That's it. That's all the time I spend. And even if I'm on Facebook, I've got my little timer. Like, I am not in there spending hours and hours, because yes, it is where people are hanging out, and that is where you have to sort of start to get them going. And then once they go into your list, which I, of course, have a strategy for, and as Rob talked a lot about the importance of email list,
Yes.
it's then about building that connection and relationship with them through my private community, through email. That's really where the value is and where the time is actually spent, where I like to spend most of my time. I don't like to spend tons of time in social, because it's not that they aren't there and I have to bring them through. It's just that once I've got a captive person who is very interested, then I want to nurture them. I don't want to just be looking for the next. And that is a little bit of the entrepreneurs, I guess, downfall, is that we're always looking for the next guy, next client, and kind of forget about those who are, there waiting in our community, interested in what we have to say, and captive audience. But we're very focused on that, getting that next one. And we're going to find the next one out there.
What I know about you, Charlene, is you are very much connection oriented. And I think that's why you can spend so little time in your platform, which is LinkedIn, and get such a big result. I wrote an email to my list this week that somebody responded to one line in it, which I think sums up what we're both talking about. And that is that one thoughtful connection will produce way more than 100 funnels. Right. And I think that's what you're doing. And that's why, as you say, you can spend so little time in a platform, and it could, and because you know how to connect, you do it naturally.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. And as I, of course, really encourage people to do, is to do video and live streaming, because it's a wonderful way for people to get to know you and really build a relationship. And it's just a really wonderful way to do that. And Barb is one of our expert panel who is going to be there next week. And I mentioned that earlier on. It is free event. She is going to be there to answer questions. We are going to open the floor. So if you have a question and you can want to ask Barb directly, you can. You can also ask all the panel experts. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to get the ear of 9 experts and all of their wisdom and time that you would probably not normally get. And it's a free event, so you can sign up. And if you can't come, it's okay. On the thank you page, just ask your question and I will ask it at the panel and you will get the replay. So your question can still be asked whether you can come or not. So Barb will be there. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. And I hope to have you again on my show.
Thank you for having me, Charlene. I cannot wait for this event. I'm looking as forward to the other 8 experts, I think, as everybody else that's signing up for it is. This is a huge opportunity, you guys. Like Charlene said, not only can you ask questions, but you can hear, everybody has a little bit different way of doing things, of getting people to show up for their events or getting people to come in to, sign up for their workshops and so forth, which is like the beginning of getting clients. That's the first step, right? And so I'm excited to share what I've been doing that has been working. And I'm equally excited to hear what the others have been doing. What a huge opportunity this is, you guys.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of value there. So be sure to check it out. I will put the link down below in just a second after the stream is over, which it almost is, because I try to be promptly on time. We're at 45 minutes, which is the limit. That is what I try to respect everybody's time. Thanks, Barb. I will let you go and I will quickly throw up the image here. Got to move out of the way, and down in the comments below, click that link, get your free ticket. I'll see you guys next Thursday. I'm here every Thursday helping you to help find your clients online, and I will see you then.